Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon. This is Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. And without further ado, I'm going to bring in this mouth bastard.
You motherfucker! I can't fucking believe you cut me off back then. I'm still fucking going. You didn't let me finish. I had a totally different intro set up for tonight, and you had to shut me down before I can finish my last breath. I'm gonna die of a heart attack. I bring my stress levels like to the top. But what's up, everybody? What's going on? I'm hanging out with this guy over here, Calderon, who I don't know if it's him or if it's me that's having bad service tonight. But welcome to the show. And we're gonna be hanging out with a bunch of creators who have been putting their money where their mouth is, believing in themselves, and making comic books. Calderon, why don't you bring them on, baby? Did I freeze or did he freeze? Is something up? I got no access to the system if he was the one that froze. So I'm just gonna be here and Marcus, what's up, brother? Introduce yourself. So. Calderon is frozen, baby. This is our show now.
Yes, it is.
The rippers and the donkeys. We're gonna have a good time tonight.
Yes, it is. We're taking over, man. It's Marcus McNeal back on the show again, editor-in-chief of Odyssey Comics, and so happy to participate in what I'm sure will be a professional and cordial stream with you all
today. Ain't nothing professional going on tonight, baby. Come on, how dare you insult me with the term professional? I don't resemble that remark in the slightest. Now, Tom resembles a professional. What's up, Tom?
Yeah, my internet's acting up. Sorry about that.
I'm wearing a T-shirt that I'm pretty sure is about 12 years old. I'm not sure how professional that is exactly.
For comic books, that is extremely professional. That might as well be a brand new T-shirt. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, then that's good. Yeah. Guys, what's up? Tom Hutchison, writer, publisher, editor, art director for Big Dog Inc. Princesses versus Zombies is our live Kickstarter right now. It ends in 4 hours. So we'll be talking about that tonight. But as you're chit-chatting around and you want to go check out a campaign, we got 4 hours left just to unlock the 7th stretch goal.
Wow. How many did you have planned?
We had 8 on our slate. So it would take about another $1,000 to get us to that final one, which is not impossible, but it would be a stretch.
Yeah. No, I don't know if people are familiar with Tom, but he's starting to hit Polito numbers. So
I'm hitting Polito numbers that he does in his first 20 minutes.
There you go.
That's what I'm doing. I'm right with Polito in 20 minutes.
Listen, whether you ran in the marathon at the back of the pack or in the front of the pack, all right, you're still in the marathon. All right. You still ran with some of the elites.
Yeah.
Dre, what's up, bro? Why don't you do
what's going on? It's good to be here. Good to see you again, Jay. It's been a while since we spoke.
Yeah.
Long while. But yeah, hey everybody. I'm Dre. I am the creator, editor, producer of Brutal Planet Comics and head writer. Good Lord. Brutal Planet Comics. I have just like Tom, I'm in the midst of an Indiegogo campaign for my comic Treble, The Rhythm Within. Still got plenty of time left. Got 30 days to reach the goal. I'm really, really excited about it, and I can't wait to talk more about it. But it's good just being with all you great folks and get to know you guys. So this is really cool.
I'm sorry, I keep getting insulted. I've been called professional and great. I don't like any of those terms. I'd rather you curse me out than say that stuff. Carlos, my brother.
Hi, fellas. It's been a while.
What's up, Carlos?
How's it going? Dre, Tom, Marcus, Jay, and JD. It's
pleasure
to be back finally. This is my first one in a long time. Well, JD and I did one like the last day of my Kickstarter, but that was a one-on-one. But as far as the groups are concerned, I haven't done one of these in ages.
Oh man, guys.
So it is.
I'm glad you're repopping your cherry with us tonight.
Yes. Usually, as you know, I check in while I'm supposed to be doing work, and commenting. But yeah, it's good to be back here. We just got back. My wife and I just got back from our anniversary in San Diego. So I took the day off, thank goodness, and here I am.
Nice. Well, now that Calderon left, all right, let's throw his questions out the window. Forget about Indie Comics Explained, and let's talk about how great the Marvel's movies was. I know that Tom was there on opening night with me, right? Just catching it at the Thursday night, 8 o'clock showing.
Stop.
Okay?
Your propaganda. Stop.
I'm on the wrong stream. I gotta go. I gotta get out of here.
Look at it. I'm firing it up. But he's whatever question. I don't know. What is he gonna ask tonight? What do you need to do to stay in this indie comic game? That's his question, and I'm not gonna give him the opportunity to ask it. So screw him for having shitty internet tonight. Okay.
Tonight it's all about Megaforce.
Yes.
Oh Lord.
Yes. All right. Dre, Marcus, Carlos, do you guys know about Megaforce?
I have no idea. I know about Megaforce Records, but that's about it.
I'm not talking about the Power Rangers thing. No. Okay.
That's my head went first. I was like, we're not doing that, are we?
No.
We're not rewinding the clock 20 years and trying
Barry
to
This is way beyond 20 years.
Barry Bostwick was the lead in this ensemble, if you could call it that, of G.I. Joe before it was G.I. Joe, guys. And it was amazing. It was beautiful. It was all 80s, in the 80s. It informed so many creators to this day. And if you haven't gotten a chance to see it, please watch the one that is not tagged up by riff tracks, right? That's the word copy. Don't shit on it, right? Don't hate, create, because that's what we do, right? All of us have created quite a few books in our time, in our journey. So going back to Calderon's question, what do you need to do to stay in this indie comic game? Dre, I'm gonna start with you.
Sure. You kind of grazed on a little bit about being creative. The idea that the mainstay for why we actually have careers in this game is because we are creative. A lot of the mainstream comics at this point in history are lacking that. It's to say the very least, lacking creativity. And it's up to us to actually pretty much put the ball in our chest and run with it. In order to stay in this independent game, the creativity and making characters that people actually love and care about is what's really, really a driving force. And making stories that are so compelling that people want to think about and then create fan art or whatever the case may be, to create something beautiful for somebody to really want to cosplay as during Comic-Con or AwesomeCon or something. Like to create a breeding ground for more creativity. And if we're able to accomplish that, without question, we can stay in this indie game for sure.
All right. I like that. All right. Carlos, what's up? What do you think about the question?
So what do we need? We need patience. Because this is if you're in it for the short term, then you're going to be out of it real quick. So it takes determination. You got to have patience. You can't think of it as a get rich quick scheme or anything like that. There's very little money to be made. It's if you can. So
little money to be made.
Very little money.
How dare you insult people with the truth?
Yeah. So but now, is there money to be made? Yeah. But it takes growth, and growth can, for the most part, it's slow. But I've been at it for a long time now, and there's times when I get bummed out, and there's times when there's that inkling in the back. It's like, do you really want to continue? Then there's that creative itch that always has to be. We're creatives, and that itch is always there. So if I didn't have this outlet, then I wouldn't have any outlet for that creativity. And that wouldn't be good. So yeah, patience. You got to kind of have a plan, and it's a marathon. You'd mentioned the marathon earlier. Yeah, it's a marathon.
Oh, definitely a marathon. Tom, what are your thoughts on this?
There is so much money to be made in comics. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. It's everywhere. It's laying on the floors. All you got to do is pick it up. That's the reality, Mr. JD. But to kind of piggyback off of that, Carlos isn't wrong, but there is definitely money to be made out there. But I think the thing that a lot of us get hung up on, and I'm no exception, is sometimes we don't understand necessarily what the market is looking for. Now, that doesn't mean you have to make something for the market, but you have to, in order to make that money that is out there to be had, you've got to have something that is marketable. You got to have something that isn't so far outside the box that people struggle to comprehend what it is. That's why we see a lot of so many publishers now doing just endless homage covers, because even if somebody doesn't know what property they're looking at, if it's got that, that Spider-Man 300 homage, at least there's sort of a visual cue, like, oh, I know what that is, but I don't know what that is. So you get sort of an icebreaker to help, sell whatever product you have. So I think, it's great to make the projects you want to make 100%, but you have to understand that not everything is going to be marketable at least 100% of the time. So if you can look at your property, whatever it is that you're creating, and ask yourself, who's this for? Is this for dudes that grew up in the 80s and like Megaforce? Is this for somebody who grew up with the Powerpuff Girls? Like, is this somebody who grew up with the power? Like, there are markets that you can aim your stuff at specifically. And once you kind of know where that market is and what sort of money that market has and where they sort of, propagate on the internet and so on, you're going to do yourself a gigantic favor to be able to kind of hyper focus. I've got this thing that Powerpuff Girls fans should like. I'm going to drive it right into that audience. So marketability and focus is kind of what I think you need to have the long-term success of growth and potentially, making enough money to pay your electric bill.
Tom, thank you for bringing that up, because it's something that I started recently, and I've had people kind of, because I added in the last Kickstarter for the first time ever, I added a cover that was NSWF. Is that what it is?
NSFW.
Yeah. And I added it, and it did well. So, but I got a lot of grief from people saying, "You're a superhero, dude. What are you doing that for?" And it's exactly what you said. I need to find ways to tap into what's popular out there, so that I can service not just me, but my creative team. Because the better I do as a publisher, that means I can pass that along to the creative team, and they're the ones that are going to prosper the way I would like them to. And so there are several projects that I have coming up next year that I plugged in because they are popular, or there is that response from backers, from readers, and some people are like, "Man, you're selling out." And it's like, well, if whatever I have to do to find an audience, I'm going to do. So yeah, exactly what you just said.
Selling out is the immediate, for me, is the biggest trigger moment when someone's like, "Oh, you sold out." I immediately know that they're not successful at what they're doing, because who cares what I did, buddy? Doesn't matter what I did. It only matters what you did. And if you think that I'm selling out by doing whatever it is that I'm selling out doing, like putting the boobs on my cover or whatever, I immediately know that you're not paying attention to yourself and to your market. And you're probably struggling right now with whatever it is that it is. 9 times out of 10, I hear selling out or things of that nature. I can go look at that dude's campaign or his social media or his books itself or whatever, and I can say, "Oh, you're struggling, and you are trying to maintain some sort of high ground above everybody else, because I'm not going to put boobs on my book, because that's not the way it should be." No, creativity in all facets, whether it's comics or movies or TV or whatever, it's just creativity. You decide what you want to create, number one, And then, like I just said, number two, you have to understand markets and what markets work, what markets don't, what markets want this, what markets don't want that. If you think for a minute that the tapping into the I don't know, what do you want to call it, NSFW market is selling out, let me just tell you, I'll take some of those billions of dollars that are happening in the, the adult market or whatever you want to call it. Just shovel some of that my way, man. If you want some boobs, I'll give you some boobs every now and then. It's fine.
You said it a second ago. You got to find a way to keep those lights on, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Marcus, what do you think about Calderon's question?
Yeah, I think truly what it takes to have that sort of longevity in anything, be that indie comics or business in general, you got to be willing to innovate. Okay. The things that are hot right now will not be hot tomorrow or a week from now or a month from now. Even some people that are at top of, the game that we see, like we were talking about Brian Pulido earlier, there was a time when Lady Death and things like that weren't hidden for him. And he didn't have that around, but he was able to retool his strategy, his characters, the way he creates books and put things out and reload for this new era that we're in right now. He can sit at the top of the game because he was willing to innovate and do things differently. That looks a little bit different to everybody. Innovation isn't going to mean this the same way. It might be your distribution channel. It might be the way that you manage your teams, your business, you put things together. It may be something as simple as, how you balance the financials of making everything work. But you have to be willing to try new things and look at new ways of doing business, new ways of creating. And I think some of the issues that we see that might be happening in, mainstream comic books and larger publishers and even some of the smaller indie publishers are due to a lack of innovation, are due to a lack of willing to take risks and chances at trying something new and different to tap into new audiences or find a way of doing things. And, we know what happens in evolution for those things that fail to adapt to the times that they're in. Not long for the world. And if you're going to stick around in any comics, you have to have the same philosophy.
Well, those who don't innovate, they're still going to fight tooth and nail to the end. Look at the New York City TLC when Uber popped up. But, aside from that, now that Calderon's back, I'm going to answer before he chimes in. I want to touch on what everybody's been saying. There's a little bit of all of this in having that thick skin, right? You need that thick skin because people are going to tell you, no, you can't do the NSFW covers, right? People are going to tell you, oh, don't do superhero books. People are going to tell you, oh, don't do zombie books. People are going to tell you what to do with your money. And at the end of the day, if you're the one footing the bill to put the project together, right, you are putting money into your creative endeavors. You need to put it out there. You need to put it out there, and you're going to need to have the thick skin to take those chops when those who are either A, trying to keep you down, those who are trying to, say you're going to go broke by being woke, those who say you're going to do any other thing with your money that they wouldn't do to keep you down. So as long as you're the one fitting the bill and innovating, then you need the thick skin to last. Calderon, how do you feel on the question of the night, buddy?
Thank you for holding it down. I appreciate that, sir.
Are you kidding me, bro? We were showing some really raunchy videos up here while you were gone, bro.
I was watching on my phone, so I know it's
That's where that one view is coming from this evening. Yeah. Right. All right.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I do better than the white elite.
So what are your thoughts on the topic there, buddy?
Longevity boils down for myself has always been the quality of the work, right? You make sure that whenever you do what you're doing, you make sure you put your best foot forward, produce the best quality work that you can produce. Because even though you may not be successful at this moment in time, if the work is good now and you make it so it's timeless, you can still sell that work 5, 10, 15 years from now.
Okay.
I know because I've done it and I've been doing that. I've been selling 12 Tales for the last 30 years, and I've sold boatloads of that stuff. I mean, at this point, tens of thousands of copies, of those books, in various forms. So, I mean, as long as you make the work and you make it good, I think the work will sell. Whether you're just starting out in the middle of your career, at the end of your career, you can just keep selling this stuff. And I think that's the most important thing. Make sure you do work that you can create that's timeless. You know, try not to do weird things like put too many dates in there and stuff, and you know that you'll date yourself. I mean, if it's a period piece, hey, you got to do it. You know, but if it's you know, wherever you can make a timeless piece, try to do it. You know,
so what
in
you're
that
saying
way,
is don't reference TikTok videos and reels in your comics.
you know, listen, if it's part of your story, do it. You know, but I would always say create your own platforms, like create your own, you know, terms and things, so in that way they'll be yours, and you know you won't have TikTok coming after.
That's true. All right. So we touched on your question. It's time for mine. Yeah, boys. So we've all made comic books here. We've all made quite a few books here. We know how, even in the best of times, that can be challenging. But that's the easy part. So for you, what is the hard part about being an entrepreneur? Right. So we started with Dre before. We're gonna hit Carlos, and then we're gonna go to Tom. Carlos, what's the hard part about being an entrepreneur, being a creative soul, being the person who is putting their money where their mouth is?
I'd say two things. The first one is dealing with creatives, art teams. I know some of you guys are artists yourself, so you do a lot of your own thing, but having to deal with artists, like right now, one of the artists that I've got working on, he's constantly giving me excuses about this happened or that happened, this happened, and the work is now late again. So it's frustrating to deal with that. Just dealing with guys getting hot in the beginning and then they cool off. So that to me is that's the biggest one, because I can deal with coming up short on Kickstarters or whatever it might be. The thing is trying to give people, especially on those Kickstarters, giving them when I say it's going to be delivered on this amount of time, that we're going to make sure that it happens. So when creatives when you give them the money and then they start to give you excuses, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
So I've come up with so from that, I deal with it, and it's in the contracts now that I have with them. So once they start going over deadlines, I start taking money away from them. And I don't know how some of you might feel with that, but this is just something, as I've dealt with it, I've had to start doing this. And if they are late, then if it was $100 a page, it's now $90 a page when they turn it in. And if it goes past the next deadline, then it's $80 a page, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I do not rip them off, so comes a point where it kind of caps off. But it is where we're at now, because some of these guys, they'll come in hot. They'll be turning them. Oh, yeah, this is great. You've got 2-3 pages you've just turned in, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, where are you? Yeah. I had water drop on my computer. We had a tornado come through. We had this or that. My mom's in the hospital. I'm in the hospital. And it's like, for the most part, I do have compassion, but there comes a point where it's like, dude, either you're the unluckiest person in the world, or you're just lazy and you're giving me excuses. Mm-hmm. But that's very frustrating. The other one is finding the best storefront. So I'm still kind of dealing with that, and I've been told Shopify is an avenue that's working for them. But for me, it's trying to find a good storefront that works.
Okay.
So yeah,
I've been using WooCommerce for the last year. I've had no problems with them.
Who is that?
WooCommerce. I don't know if you run a WordPress site. I run a WordPress site. I use WooCommerce. The basic features are awesome. There are paid features, but at least I'm not paying a monthly subscription like I would with Spotify, and I have a digital paywall. WooCommerce works out for me.
Reach out.
Yeah. Tom, what do you think is the hardest part about making comics, man?
Oh, you changed the question on me. That wasn't the question you asked.
What did I ask?
The first question was, what's the hardest part of being an entrepreneur?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, it's all about the same thing. Relax. You know
it's
what?
Not the same thing.
If anybody watches the show, we know, but this is the telephone game, right? We start with one question and we end up with something totally different by the time we get to the end.
Usually it's not a game of telephone between the same person, Jay.
Yeah, making comics is the hard part. That's one thing.
Of what I'm trying to say, Marcus.
Being an entrepreneur in the comics industry is a different spiel, and that's where I was going to come from. Is
go
making the comics has its own sort of ups and downs and roller coasters. But for me, the entrepreneur part is the hard part because it takes me away from making comics. It's making these Kickstarter campaigns. It's running the website and eBay stores. It's having to do the shipping and the packaging and doing all the infrastructure things that takes me away from the comic book creating. That's the hard part for me. And even then, it's not necessarily like hard. It's just that just mentally, I know, like I'm sitting there and I'm packaging books and I'm like, damn, man, I should be writing books right now, and someone else should be packaging these freaking critter toys or something, So it starts to put it in my brain, like, I think it's time to build this infrastructure out so that I can hand off some of this stuff that theoretically anyone can do. Once you teach them, here's how you package a comic, here's how you package a toy, here's how you ship things, like teach them. And then suddenly you've alleviated 10, 12 hours a week from your work block that you can now focus on the creative side of things, where I'm the only one that can do that. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, it's time to build the infrastructure out and put some people on some semblance of a part-time payroll and allow me to sort of hyper focus on the creative.
So for you, it's building the machine.
Yeah.
At the same time of making the books. Okay. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Dre, where do you feel with the first, second, or third question I asked?
So I'm going to go with, I'm going to just do the whole amalgamation. I'm going to put entrepreneur and comics in the same wheelhouse. I'm going to just do that because pretty much it's the same thing. Marketing and getting traction on social media has got to be the hardest challenge for me personally. And of course, as always, usually, as we all do, I think the majority of us do, we're funding this out of our own pockets. All right. And I think the majority of us are. So finances, of course, always going to be an issue, but that's neither here nor there. But for me, I think primarily it's about getting it to the right people, having the right people see the work that are interested in what I'm doing or interested in what I'm selling or what I'm producing. Social media, there's a lot of noise, on social media. And I find myself constantly having to pick and choose what's the right time to hit a certain social platform or the right hashtags or the right blah, 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 blah. So you can just cut through the noise through so much, especially in a world that is, especially post-COVID, that is so bent on just everybody being online and it's not anything else. So I think that's one of the major challenges that I face as being an entrepreneur and a comic creator is that aspect, because you can find yourself pissing in the wind sometimes when you're trying to put yourself out there. But about targeting the right folks and getting the right marketing and getting all the right people involved that will be interested in your work and want to support your work and stuff like that. I think that's one of the major issues that I find.
Okay. Marcus, where you sit on this, bro?
I know for me, it's it's a lot of what Tom had already touched on. When you're doing these things, a lot of time entrepreneurs starting out, A lot of us run with either very lean operations, lean number of people, limited amount of help, and just the overall business aspects of things after a while, they get pretty handy. I know I couldn't really have a lot going on because for the most part, until I'm starting to build a team out now here going into 2024, the only full-time employee of Odyssey Comics is me. So I'm running the website. I'm getting the books prepped for development. I'm doing the graphic design a lot of times. I'm, managing all the campaigns. I'm building the campaigns. I'm doing the graphic design for those. I'm doing the fulfillment. I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm the, story editor or supervising editor on a project, everything like that. So once you get the totality of everything together, it gets hard. It gets hard for me sometimes just finding time to send an email out, or respond to an email, or even, in the case of some things, this is stuff that I have to also do a better job myself, communicate to the team. A lot of them will be like, hey, Marcus, where are we at with this? Where are we at with that? It's like, I do my best to keep you guys insulated and not let you feel my stress or anything that's going on like that. But like, I'll be doing things and I need time to strategize and get things focused. I was talking to one of my creators. They're like, oh, I was thinking like, we'd be up next or our project was doing something. It's like, listen, that's like 6 titles behind in the queue. We're going to get to it. We're going to be working on it. But for right now, me putting my creative energy into something that's not going to see the light of day until, probably midway through 2024 right now is not the best use of my time. And it's not best use of resources for Odyssey. So making sure that I'm not overwhelming myself. And also here's the real kicker, the real kick in the pants. If you have success at this and you are growing and you're bringing money in, guess what you're rewarded with? More work.
Yeah.
So now you get to suffer from your success by having to do more, answer more submissions, do more business deals, find other avenues at distribution and things like that. So it doesn't stop. It never stops. And your only real option is to be able to build your team out, bring in some people you can trust, some people who can take those things off your shoulder and make sure that the quality, is going to be there and they're performing at a high level, and really try to steer the ship as much as you can, without having also swab the decks when it comes down to it. And that's the part I've been struggling with, and hopefully we'll get some alleviation pretty soon here.
Yeah, I feel that from both of you big time. Yeah, Calderon, what do you feel?
I didn't even know we were running a business.
Yes.
I mean, it goes to basically what everybody's saying is it's difficult, but I think the biggest things you got to worry about is time management and money management, right? If you don't have good money management, even it doesn't matter how limited your funds are or even how much capital you have. If you can have an abundance of capital and blow through it in like 2 months because you're just not doing it right? Because you're like, oh, I got all this cash. You got this itch in your pocket. You're like, okay, let me hire these 15 guys to do all these different covers for me, or like 3 different people to do 3 different books at the same time. You're out of cash in 2 months, right? And you started.
Well, you got to expose me like that, kid.
Well, it's happened to all of us, right? I'm sure all of us is, we end up with a nice big sum of money. We're like, it's burning a hole through your pocket. You don't know what to do with it. So that's one of the things. Sometimes you got to like know when to put the brakes on and say, okay, let me like dole this out a little bit at a time. Let me be a little bit more wise about this. And let me just do this a little bit at a time. Now, listen, I think I'm having some troubles with StreamYard and everything. I'm not getting any, just to let everybody know, I'm not getting anything in my chat. So I'm not seeing any of the comments. I looked on Facebook, there are people commenting. So I'm not seeing it on my end. So sorry about that. If I'm not pulling them up today.
Okay. Yeah, no, it says I'm live on my Facebook, but like you said, I don't see any comments rolling in. So,
yeah, I don't see anything. Yeah, yesterday the chat was hopping when I was.
Yeah. All right.
There was a comment on Facebook. I saw a comment on Facebook, but
yeah, I saw one on there too.
Yeah,
so who knows? So it's because I was gone for 15 minutes. Once people saw that, they were like, "That's it."
There you go. They were like, "Get that fool Jay off the fucking screen."
They're like, "Yes, Jay, forget about it. We're tuning out.
Get him out of here." I want to touch on what you guys are saying. Time management, money management. bringing people in so that way it's not a lean operation, right? Because the biggest downfall to that is the people in your personal life that get affected as well, right? I don't know how many conventions I've gone to where my wife comes with me, right? We plan out the year, we plan out our travel schedule on conventions, and yeah, she's not obligated to come with me, but she's my wife. She comes with me, she does it, right? I'm getting up at 4:00 in the morning on my days off to get comic book work done, so that way I can have a personal life with the wife, because she shouldn't have to suffer because I'm so busy, right? Her needs should not be put on the back burner because I have to get this done. If I was not running so lean in the operation, then I'd be able to give her more time. But like Marcus said, the more successful you are, the more work gets put on your plate. And I don't think how the more people you bring in, I don't think we would devote any less time to doing this than we currently do it.
No, you just spend your time on different things. That's all.
You just spend, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm looking forward to these, to these holiday breaks because I get to work on comics, right? I get to do scripting. I don't know how many times I complained to Calderon that, I'm taking the laptop with me to the day job, and every time I got 15 to 20 minutes of just free time, I'm getting in there, punching in a few lines. Because I've got a ton of outlines. I got a ton of, hey Siri, take a note. Things to add to my scripts. But then when I come home from the day job, it's putting out whatever fire is coming up first. No matter how well I try to lay out the plans, how well I try to set up a release schedule, something always blows up, right, Carlos? Like you said that, right? Something always comes up, and trying to figure out not just how to operate without being so lean, but how to make sure that the operation keeps running. God forbid you got to take a step back, not for a long time, maybe a week or two, right? For me, that's the hardest part. It's you're learning how to fucking play chess, at the same time that you're doing all of this, because you're not thinking about the next step. You're thinking about the next 15 steps and what goes wrong with any one of those 15 steps and what type of contingency plans are involved should any of those things go wrong, right? How do you teach that, Tom, when you bring people in, right? How do you
teach what?
How do you teach them to keep the operation
something
running?
Specific?
No, how do you teach them to fucking problem solve, to troubleshoot, to
oh my God,
right?
you pray to God.
How do you trust?
No, you pray to God. All hiring somebody is all praying to the gods. Whoever you pray to, you are praying to the gods, because I've hired people, and literally to make a longer story short, I was working for somebody else. I had been put in a position of power within the company. That the owner of that company was like, well, you need an assistant to help you. I was like, that's fine. And so he was interviewing somebody else, and I was standing in doing my job while he was doing the interview. So I was listening in, and he turns to me, he says, it sounds pretty good. You got any other questions? And I said, can you count to 10? And they both laughed. And I was like, no, can you count to 10? Because this is important, because in the sports card industry, cards have numbers on them, and we need to use those numbers for real things within the business. And he counted to 10, and I was like, okay, well, you passed one step, and next is the alphabet. Do you know your alphabet? Because all these guys have names, and we have to alphabetize names. And that guy lasted about 6 months, even though he kind of knew the bare bones of what we needed. He still didn't want to put in the effort. And you never know if they're going to put in the effort, right? They might be good for the job. They might have the aptitude for the job, but when they're actually doing it, they might get really tired of packaging your comics in a hurry, and suddenly it gets sloppy. Like the tape isn't, fully down, the box isn't folded right or whatever. And that's because a lot of that menial labor stuff does get tiresome, man. I mean, Amazon had a robot that killed itself after 15 minutes. So understand that, you know, yeah, you don't know that story. Amazon was trying out robots for their factories to like move boxes around, and it ran for about 15 minutes and realized this is some bullshit, and it turned itself off.
No.
Fact. Go look it up. Fact. Yeah. So, you know, we got to understand that these are people that we're dealing with, and, you know, we have to have some empathy for them, but it is kind of sometimes a shitty job. And then you take the next step where you're talking about where they can troubleshoot and like come up with ideas. That's another whole battlefield of stuff, because you're either going to get the person that is too scared to say anything because you're the boss and we want to do it the boss's way, even though I tell them, hey, if you see something, tell me and we'll figure out whatever it is you're worried about. Or there's the people that are going to come in with every day as an idea, and then that can wear you down as the boss. It's like, yo, slow down. It's a little too much. Let's limit it to 2 ideas a week. And, you know, we can tackle those specifically versus every day. So it's a toss up, man. It's a toss up.
But you don't want to kill that either, right?
No, you don't want to. No, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to kill it, but you also can't encourage it to the point that it's overwhelming the time that they're there. If they're there to package and stock shelves and whatever, they can't be there with, hey, you know, at cons, at this, like every day. Like, just keep it focused. You know, do your job. If you have a thought process, bring it to me, but it can't be consistent all the time. That's going to overwhelm what their job is. It's going to overwhelm you because it's taking you away from what you were doing by hiring that guy, you know, because if he's supposed to be packaging while you're writing comics and all he's doing is talking to you, you've missed the point of what's going on. Yeah.
That's true. We can't be precious about it, right? What we're doing, right? And, you know, we can't be princesses about it. But if we have princesses versus zombies, that's a totally different thing.
Ooh, he's stepping up his fucking segue game.
It wasn't the worst.
Boys.
That was a flawless segue. That jump was top tier.
Yeah.
That's like it on the spot, bro.
I'm still working on it. You know.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
Do you want me to play this video?
You can. It's only 39 seconds.
Yeah.
39 seconds is good.
This is what happens when you need a video and you don't know how to make a video.
Or produce from
or produce a show.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the dumb little music. But yeah, I generally don't do videos. Partially because I don't know how to make them. And so I decided to just go ahead and take a shot at it. I went over to CapCut and, you know, monkeyed around with it for about 3 hours and came up with a 39-second clip. There we go. That's, you know, 3 hours well spent, right?
No white, baby. God damn.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't usually do videos, but I decided to take a shot at it. The campaign is doing better than the last one that we did for Princess vs. Zombies. So I don't know if that's because we had a video or not, but you know, that is one of the pieces of the puzzle that you have to kind of always figure out when analyzing why you did better or worse or whatever. So we've got a bunch of stretch goals already unlocked, stickers and magnets and trading cards. And then the round 2 is the poker chips that we're unlocking right now.
Nice.
So that's where we're at the moment. We're just about 17.7 now. I think I saw we just got another backer. So that one is unlocked. If we do manage to put another roughly $800 on the tally before tonight, in about 3.5 hours, there'll be another poker chip there too. But this is just old school kind of fun. Like we were talking about, you know, the 80s, right? The 80s is a lot of trash. Oh, yeah. So this is kind of from that genre of just let's have some fun with monsters and good looking girls and whatever. So it's basically it's Halloween night. We're playing with the tropes of all of the sexy princess costume thing. Basically, as the zombies start to rise, that's the first couple of issues. We've introduced 5 princesses so far, and we've kind of gathered them all together as of the last issue. And now we're into issue number 2, full-size issue number 2. And we're pushing the story forward with our sort of Avenger princesses all together now, and their attempts to survive the zombie apocalypse, and kind of potentially figure out what made it happen. But ultimately, as within all zombie shows or whatever, TV shows, movies, or whatever, it's really just survival stories. So it's how do you tell a survival story with unique characters? All of them are pretty unique in this regard. They all have very specific personalities, which makes it fun to write. And we've got, amazing cover artists. Chow Mahato is our regular series artist, inside and outside the book. That's M.R. Gunn.
Chow Mahato freaked me out looking at that cover. I thought you got Arthur Adams to do it. And I'm like, holy shit.
No.
Tom is raking in the dough, bro.
No.
Raking in the dough if he's getting Arthur Adams.
No.
But way to be Chow Mahato.
Yeah,
that
Chow
is
Mahato. That's
awesome
Chow Mahato right there. Yep.
Yeah.
We have Mel Milton, who's been huge for us over the years. We're putting him on the list for basically everything now. This has been a huge hit. We got Elias Chitsaudis back with us for the second time with Cindy. That's Joel Gomez from Coffin Comics. Of course, he does a lot of Coffin Comics stuff, so we've had him a few times now with Pocahontas. There's Cindy and Elias. And that is Lene Dye. It's our first time working with Lene Dye.
Elias does Coffin Comics too.
Sure. Oh, he works for everybody. And so does Mike Crone. Michael works for anybody.
You got the lineup. You got a Coffin Comics lineup there of covers. Very nice.
Mike Crone's been with us for a long time. He's so great. We only get him once or twice a year, but when he comes on, he's fantastic.
Tim
and then of course the legend Tim Vigil himself. So
that sushi roll cover, yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. Boy.
So how did you? I mean, other than asking him and paying him, how did you get Tim Vigil?
I've known Tim for years. I've met him at cons and stuff. And that was basically it. I was like, he did a Penny for Your Soul cover for us. He did another one. What the hell was the other one? He's done a couple. He did Antoinette for us. So Tim's very cool. But basically that's it. It's like, hey Tim, I like what you do. This is awesome. This is what we do. Does this float your boat? You interested in doing it? And he's like, yeah. So when we did this with princesses, I was like, look, I want to do a princess. We're doing princesses versus zombies, but I don't want to just do like what you've done in the past where it's just here's the bad girl. I was like, I want to have her getting eaten by a zombie. So he comes back, he says, boobs? I said, yeah. He said, blood? I said, yeah. He said, gore? I said, yeah. He said, I'm in. And there we go. I had the trifecta nice. That he wanted, and he got to go have fun with it.
How many times have you done those interconnecting covers, Tom?
We've done them a handful of times, 5 or 6 times over our years. Yeah.
I love it because you're not going ham. You're not doing 9. You know what I mean?
Oh, we did 7.
Oh, you did?
We did 7 once. Okay. Yeah, that was crazy with Penny for Your Soul. We had 7 issues, and so we did 1 issue per campaign, but each one of them connected for the whole thing.
That's
right. So it wasn't all 7 in one shot. Yeah.
Okay, that's different.
But when we do these, we've done a few of these where it's just like 3 pieces. Yeah.
Very nice.
And that's that 3-piece puzzle is all done by M.R. Gunn. He's been great with us as well. And then, of course, Lene died. We have the after party set. And then, it just goes on into all our combos that we have. You can get, if you want everything, we have an everything combo. We have some back issues that are available and so on. So, yeah.
Listen. Looks good. I mean,
and
as
of course,
always,
everything is available in metal and foil, depending on how fancy you want to get. And then if you just want to, if you're new to Big Dog Inc. and you want to try out the other stuff we do, we've got trade paperbacks and issues available from all of our other series. So this has become an invaluable tool for us as we do a campaign and people are, buying Critter. And then we launch Critter in January. we get those guys that were trying it out, and they're like, oh, now there's a new Critter book, and I want to get in on that. So having your back catalog available in a campaign is just super, super important. Because people can, whether it's for that one specific book or other books that you do, that way people get to know what you do. If they don't know, if I'm doing Princesses versus Zombies and they don't know that I have a superhero book, they don't know to look for it. It's just, well, here I am for the princess book, and I bought it, and now I'm on my way. So the more you can do to kind of show them what you do, the more you'll be able to get those guys coming back and looking for more.
Yeah, our catch up tiers are always one of our most popular ones.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. I mean, Tom, knock it out the park as usual.
How long did this one run for?
2 weeks. It ends tonight in about 3 hours. We did it for 2 weeks.
14 days.
Yep.
Usually that's what 2 weeks mean, but
I know, but sometimes some people would run it for 16, depending if they want to end on a specific date.
He'd say
I think ours ended up being officially 15 days because I wanted to end it tonight because we do our live sales show on Comic Book Shopping Network. So I wanted to end it tonight while we did our show there, so that we could drive our sales customers there to the last couple hours of the campaign. So I think it was technically 15 days. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. See, there you go, Jay. See, I didn't want to tell you to shut up. I was trying to be nice to you, but you see, 15 days.
I'm so sorry.
2 weeks, more or less.
I forgot to measure in fortnights. It's okay.
No.
Not the video game, the real setup.
No.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. You're
4 score and 2 weeks ago.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
I kept your show running tonight, Dan. I kept it running. Who's next up on the docket?
It's not my fault. You have no rhyme or reason to what you're doing.
I resemble that remark.
So, Dre, do you want me to play this video?
By all means, but full disclosure, I hate the sound of my own
Dre,
voice.
do you want me to play this video?
Play it for him.
No, listen, I don't know anyone who likes their own voices, except maybe James or Jones.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brutal Planet Comics. I'm your host, Dre Daniels, and
Got some issues there. JD, I think it might be your problem. I think you're streaming this through a potato.
Yeah.
I think he's frozen.
I think so.
Yeah. Damn, Calderon. Ay. Oh man.
That laser internet, man. You got to get that new laser internet.
Shit. Listen, in his defense, there is a storm passing through New York right now.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
So things are hurting over there.
So what's your appetite? Let me introduce to you Trouble, the Rhythm Within. Welcome to Trouble, the Rhythm Within. This comic series is an action-adventure musical that dives into the power of music. We begin our story in Washington, D.C., and someone has poisoned the water with a mutagen. Then we meet our hero, Zamir Green, a 17-year-old that has just wrapped up the 11th grade and is really looking forward to summer vacation. Unfortunately, he has been exposed to a powerful water-based virus. While performing at a house party, he begins to mutate, and things in his life are changed forever. Oh no! He now gains a different ability based on the genre of music that he listens to. He is thrust into an adventure filled with heroics, heartbreak, and triumph. Will he succeed in saving his city, or is Washington, D.C. doomed? Now that you've got a taste, let me tell you why I need your help. The funding will be going to printing of this graphic novel and to fund more comics in this series. I really would appreciate all of your help and support in this banner, and I got a lot of cool perks. Just check it out below. I can't wait to see how much you guys really love this book. It's been a part of me for some time, and I really, really look forward to it. And I would love to hear what you guys think about it. I'm going to leave my social media in the little square below where my face is, @DeBruce00 on Twitter, X, and Facebook, and my YouTube channel. Definitely let me know what you thought of my work. From the bottom of my heart, I really thank you all for giving my project a chance, and I'll catch you all next time.
My man.
Okay. All right.
Dre, I got to say this, you know.
And Dre, you don't sound that bad at all.
Thanks.
What do you mean I don't sound that bad? I sound great. I sound amazing. I'm beautiful. Come on. But you meant Dre.
I was talking about you. I was talking about Dre.
I'm so sorry.
No, I said Dre,
my ego is always making me step up.
Yeah, I mean,
any gray hair in your beard, bro. It pisses me off. Okay. Oh, Marcus, I'm gonna get to you too. All right. I haven't seen a close up of the beard yet. All right, but if you don't have any gray in that beard,
this whole side all over here, yeah, man, it's wrecked.
All right, gentlemen, let's take it easy. Dre, please walk us through your book.
Yes,
you weren't here for 20 minutes. Yes.
Yeah.
How long
let the man have his moment.
Dre, how long
So I've been working on this series since 2017.
Okay.
And I released the first issue on November 2019. And it was one of the most exciting moments of my life. It was my first signing that I ever done. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever really experienced in my life. And I knew that I had something really, really beautiful that day. So I was like, hey, I got to continue this arc. And I released 8 issues for this series over the last 4 years. And I was like, hey, the 8's done. It's in the ash can. Let's do the trade paperback for it. And that's what this is. For those not in the know, pretty much I came up with this idea back in middle school, actually. I came up with this idea many years ago when I was still writing scripts for the funnies and the Washington Post. So when I was back doing that, I came up with this idea because I thought was very unique. I never had seen a hero that got a different superpower based on the genre of music that he listens to. I thought it was a very unique idea. So I decided to start studying musical linguistics so that I can understand how the mind reacts to certain genres of music. So I had to do deep study on that, and also studied the stereotypical aspects of music that people would assume music does to people. Like if you've been around long enough, like people used to think like rock music makes you angry, other crazy nonsense back then. So I also implemented some of that, those type of stereotypical ideas into the process. So it was really fun to actually dive into that. I have a musical background. I come from a musical family. I have family members that are jazz musicians and opera singers and stuff. So it was really, really good. I myself used to do background for cover bands. So this was like all just came into one nice amalgamation. So in the midst of writing this, so this is an action adventure musical that I've put together here, which has an accompanying soundtrack with it as well that goes along with the book. You can't have a musical without music. So it was a whole lot of fun, and I've loved the reception that I've been getting over the years. And like I was mentioning earlier, when you dropped the first question about like why, how can you stay in the indie game long enough? This is one of those creative visions that I've had that will definitely outlast me. And because music, or the potential for music is endless. And the idea that music grants powers, like it can be taken in so many different directions and so many beautiful things. And people like all the like signings I've gone to, people just start throwing ideas at me like, what if he listens to polka music? What if he listens to a grunge metal? What if he listens to like R&B, but not just regular R&B, like Barry White R&B, like just throwing all types of stuff at me like every time I go, because that's exactly the type of excitement I like to see from people when it comes to the creative process. And this gives, and I was able to create a character that has endless possibilities. Now, granted, I can't write endless possibilities in an 8-issue run. So in this one, we tackle 5 transformations in this one. This arc, of course, is the Rhythm Within, and it's going to be the first of a trilogy that's upcoming. The next one is going to be called Treble Rise of the Children, chill with 2 L's. And the reason why it is that way is because that is the name of the virus that he contracts that gives him this ability. Nice. Now, everybody always asks me before they pick it up, like, oh, how come everybody doesn't have powers? I'm like, so glad you asked. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to create a world that was still grounded in reality. So I'm from Washington, D.C. That's my hometown. And we have a water treatment plant on an interstate called 295. If anybody's been through this area, it smells like hot death. Hot death. And everybody hates it. So what I did, I created a mutagen that only affects people with O negative blood. Now, why O negative blood? Well, I had to do research on what is a rare blood type in my city, but isn't too rare. So enough to be able to create a rogues gallery around a character without things getting completely out of control, so we can keep the world still grounded despite having its fantastical elements. So I put a lot of research, a lot of homework, a lot of foot trafficking to get this where I need it to be. So I'm very, very excited to bring this project to everybody, and to get the support that I've gotten so far. I'm halfway to my goal. There's still 30 days to go, so I'm very, very excited about that. And yeah, so it's pretty dope. So I'm really excited about this.
I like it. All right, cool. I mean, so let me ask you a question. I see you on Indiegogo. Yeah, I see you on Indiegogo. What's the why Indiegogo? Why not why not Kickstarter as opposed to Indiegogo or any of the other platforms?
The simple answer is I took just an idea of people that use a bunch of different platforms. Like some use Kickstarter, some use Indiegogo. There's a couple other ones. Me personally, I like the idea that when people support on Indiegogo, it's automatic. So they don't have to wait and they're like, they don't have the money right now, or whatever the situation is. I find it I find it more compelling that folks talk to me like, hey, I'd rather just pay for it now than commit to it and then in 2 months don't have it and blah blah blah. I thought it'd be easy, streamlined for the folks to get their hands on it and to be able to contribute easily without thinking about it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I get it. I mean, trust me. I mean, I had one campaign where I lost $700 on the back end because they didn't they didn't update their credit cards. So it happens. So yeah. So,
Yeah.
Are you planning to do a Kickstarter as well?
Oh, like side by side? No, not side by side, Carlos. No. I'll be as honest as I can. This is my debut of doing crowdfunding. This is because everything else I've done, I've funded all my other projects completely out of pocket. So doing this is my christening, as it were, into the crowdfunding world, and be as straightforward as I can. And I wanted to see how well this would go before I start, doing other things and other projects and so on and so forth. Because I got a couple of things on the back burner right now, and I wanted to see how this one would go first.
Because I would definitely love to see this on Kickstarter. I like this concept. Very cool concept you got going on here.
Also, welcome to the circus, Dre.
I see that.
Let me also just throw this out, and this is for anyone watching, but for Dre as well. Cool. You did your research and your homework, and you decided which sort of format made sense to you, and that's fine. But there is a reality that Kickstarter has a far more active, regular, built-in fan base within the platform itself than Indiegogo has. Kickstarter has a better search functionality than Indiegogo does. So regardless kind of how you do on Indiegogo, I think it's going to behoove you to take it over to Kickstarter and introduce it to that platform. Again, I wouldn't even worry about calling it like, hey, second chance offer or anything. Just take it to Kickstarter and be like, hey, here I am. This is my book. Come get it. And you might be surprised at the difference between the two platforms really quickly.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee, but
it's not a guarantee at all.
It's not a guarantee, but I am going to say that you're probably, again, don't take me exactly from, but you're probably triple that what you've got right now that you've made. You'll probably triple that funding goal.
And I've seen a lot of people do the reverse pipeline too. They'll put it on a Kickstarter and they'll have a subsequent campaign that goes on Indiegogo, usually a little bit leaner too, but just because the economies of the platforms are a little bit different, Indiegogo tend to be a little bit more straightforward, treated almost as a storefront, almost.
Right. Has anybody tried launching on BackerKit specifically yet?
I think you have to be approved and obviously we have to be approved for all of these things, but I think BackerKit actually requires, it's still like in beta or whatever they want to call it. So I think there's an extra approval process before they get really crazy with it. So I have not yet.
No. Yeah. I'm thinking about it. I saw their platform is it's almost like a Facebook feed. So it looked interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Jay, it looks good, man. I mean, I don't think you got 30 days. I don't think you're gonna have any problem funding. So
yeah, I got time.
Yeah, you got time. And like I said, it's like Tom suggested. I think we all make the same suggestion: is at some point when you're done with this, you might want to try Kickstarter because, like you say, all you're gonna do is make extra money for yourself. That's all.
Yeah, why not?
Exactly. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It never hurts. So that's always a good thing. And talking about a man who's always on the move, Mr. Marcus.
Always be creative. ABC over here to us. So what we got here is the campaign for the second issue of Phelan Wood. We launched this one back in, I believe it was in May, earlier this year. So I was glad we were able to come back with number 2 already and follow hot on the heels on it. So this picks up on the next steps in the adventure, following the story of Ren. He is a thief who's on a quest to free the cursed spirit of his father and give him his final rest. He's joined with his companion Cell, Arena, and a new character Gwen that we introduced at the last couple pages of the first issue. So now we're getting to see their journey go into full. I think for fans who love just what I call two-fisted fantasy, just classic fantasy that's just really high adventure. It moves really quickly. We go to lots of different locations, fighting different enemies, discovering new things. This is really that sort of classic 70s and 80s style adventure fantasy series that you don't get a whole lot these days. We're doing some cool things, and we definitely are trying to keep it feeling modern and up to date. But this is really born from the creator, the writer on the project, Ton's love of those old fantasy projects. And of course, if people are into Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, any of those sort of things, they're going to feel right at home with this book.
Nice.
Right, so in typical fashion, we're bringing back our rewards from the first campaign. So people who didn't get that book then can go ahead and catch up. And it seems like we're really capturing on that. Our catch-up tiers are by far, was leading the charge on it. So it seems like we're bringing in a lot of new readers who didn't catch the first issue, are going ahead and picking this one up too and making sure they grab everything.
One of the things with all 3 of these campaigns, damn, the art's really good in all 3.
Yeah, this one we got Abre Tart and Brian Magnay, who do the interiors for the artist colorist team. We got Dave Gonzalez, who did the variants on the first one, came back and contributed this one in the Not Safe for Work cover for this new one. Then you got some other kind of scrub artist who's doing the tabletop RPG cover right there. But that's my contribution to the book. I did the cover art for our Edge of Winter.
Don't call him a scrub, man.
Yeah, seriously. I was like, whoa.
That was the same thing I was thinking. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I was like, did you get Rosario to draw it? Jesus.
It would have looked worse. It would have looked worse. Much worse.
So one of the really fun things from the first campaign we decided to expand on is we did a RPG book that is a 5e D&D campaign that had a couple of campaigns in it, and people really loved it. We got great feedback from it. So this time I wanted to go bigger and better. So we'll have larger campaigns, more dedicated. This will be the book that we have that people can add on and also get as a tier itself and get the book included with it as well. So this is almost effectively like 2 campaigns in one, because you get the tabletop RPG game in addition to the comic, and people really have been responding to this well. So I did the cover art, also be doing the character art, the character sheets for the interiors. We have a custom miniature set that you can incorporate with your D&D games. We'll have the character sheets for these also included with it. Those are real. They're not digital images. They're right here. We got the full prototypes ready to go. I self-produced these right here in my 3D printing lab that we got going. So we can crank out quite a high number of these. They're 3D 4K printed resin. The resolution and the detail on them is phenomenal. The quality of the plastic is phenomenal. Really cool. So there's something that's really dope that I love, people being able to have pieces of the world. I can't do action figures and stuff like that. I'll get like Tim and the Big Dog team at some point, and maybe get some action figures going, but this is how we can do it in our own little way. And of course, being able to actually have them incorporated within your D&D campaigns. That's really cool.
I'm going through that journey, and it is fucking stressful, kid. It is fucking stressful. It's fucking stressful, dude. Oh, I'm sorry. Please continue.
No problem. But this one we did an early bird giveaway. Something that we'll try to do more often too. So 25 physical backers that pledged in the first 48 hours of the campaign got a hollow foil exclusive of David Gonzalez's cover. That is only those 25 are produced. Not going to be any extras. So that's an exclusive thing to Kickstarter. I was glad to be able to throw that in there, because it's always hard trying to find something that's really going to pique people's interest in that first part of the campaign and grab them. So being able to offer people, regardless of how much they're pledging at those physical tiers, to get something extra and special with it, that's something that I think that we'll continue to do here at Odyssey, because people really love it. It's always fun we can do something like that. And in terms of our stretch goals or challenges, as we call them in this one, almost making them like achievements for video games, as we've been capturing some of these things, not looking at, pledge total amounts or anything like that, just certain benchmarks that I want to hit on the series, and achieving those allow us to bring more in. So we went ahead and got the first one done. So everybody's going to get a preview of Phelan Wood number 3. Included as a digital reward with their campaign. Phelan Wood 3 is pretty much 99% done at this point in time. So we're going to have the campaign for that coming pretty hot on the heels of this one, probably before Q1 of 2024 is out. We also unlocked the hollow foil sticker, and then a new one that I announced today. We unlocked the Christmas card. So in the holiday spirit and with the winter theme of the book and things that we're going for, Abre and Brian are going ahead and doing a custom Christmas card that we'll be able to include with everyone's purchase. This is just the line art. It'll be fully colored and everything by the time we're all done. In terms of goals, we're funded already. We're about 215% funded right now. So campaign's been going really well. I took a page out of Tom's book and started shrinking the time on these campaigns a little bit. I've really been noticing that we haven't really needed all that much time. So we do 21 days right now, sort of standard, and I feel like that's that's a sweet spot for us. Yeah, I'll see if I can get the 14-day thing going in the future, but we got 8 days left. It's plenty of time to jump in. We'll be announcing probably a couple more stretch goals and stretch rewards as we go into the last week of the campaign. And this might be the last one for the year. I'm not too sure. I might try to squeeze one more into December to see how it goes. But
crazy, man.
We've already beat the first campaign pretty handily. So I'm very happy with how it's been turning out so far.
Very good.
Very nice. Very nice. Right. Listen, man, you're doing great as usual, bro. I don't even know what to say except congratulations.
We just keep it rolling, keep doing it. And I think the thankful thing is that every Kickstarter is a little bit different every time you launch one, but when you're able to do subsequent ones in the same series, it does get a little bit easier, I think. And this time we were talking about backer kit earlier. I think the difference for us is that we've been more engaged on the backer kit side and trying to do more and reaching out to everybody who's been a part of Odyssey and everyone who's been backing the books and things like that. So being able to utilize some of their tools, it's just really made a big difference in being able to go ahead and, get the emails out to more people, have them engage with our newsletters, everything like that. We came out right out of the gates, and then we got this thing funded in 2 days. So it's been great.
Nice.
I guess Larry saw my show last night. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Larry and Max are going back and forth in the chat, so I don't know. I missed all that stuff. All right, so Marcus, you got a question? What do you got?
Oh man, I was trying to think of a good one that I asked, but as we're wrapping down the year here, and unless you're an idiot like me and you like working through the holidays and things like that, well, we're pretty much capped out. My question is, did you have goals at the onset of this year for comics? And have you achieved those? If so, what do you feel has been the things that have helped you? And if not, what are those things that you need to work on?
All right. I think we were up to Carlos.
Good question. As far as 23, no. JD knows. Jay knows I went through losing my mother at the beginning of the year. So, no. That pretty much took any goals that I had for 23 were dashed. I canceled all con appearances. So, no. But for 24, yes, I have quite a lot of goals that I would like to achieve. One would be to release my first graphic novel, young adult graphic novel, all ages, with Pandora's Army, and we've already well into the production of that one. And it's a fantasy all ages book that's been 10 years in the making plus. I want to get the latest campaign out of the way and done. We're again well into that with Black Dahlia, and it's looking really nice. Want to get that done so that I can then go into the Kickstarter for Night Demon, as well as a couple other books, a one-shot that I've got planned for a character that made a debut in Black Dahlia, Starfucker, and yeah, that's her name.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Jay again.
And
totally wiped out what I was going to say because that was better. All right, Starfucker. That's a
Starfucker. Yes, it's nice. She's the character that I mentioned. We did the NSFW in the cover for. So because the actual book that she appeared on the cover with, that's not the type of book we're going for. I figured I'm going to expand on this character and just give her own one shot. And the artist that's doing Black Dahlia, he helped me design her. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And let's go crazy on it. So, yeah, Lola Lebeck's Starfucker is coming out next year. And Yeah, and then so I want to get at least 3 to 4 Kickstarters in there for 24, and just build up the momentum again. We had some good momentum in 22, and then that kind of went in the shitter. So for 24, I want to get that back up and going again, making a few more appearances here.
All right. Sounds good.
Very good.
Cool. Tom, did your plans come to fruition?
I really didn't have plans this year.
Smart man.
Yeah, it's sort of like New Year's resolutions. I kind of feel like a lot of that's horseshit. I think you can have expectations and goals in the context of, personal work. Like, did I, am I doing my job? Like, I'm a writer, so am I doing my job writing the best stories that I can write, so that when people get their books, they're enjoying them, that kind of stuff. Putting the time into your craft sort of thing. But as far as like, well, I want all my Kickstarters to make 15K and I want this and I want, that's not, I hone my craft in that regard. Like when I launched this campaign, this PVZ campaign, I did a live show. I think the day after I launched, and people were like, "Oh, you're going to make it like 20,000." I was like, "No, I think I'm going to hit right about 18." And right now we're at 17.6 with 3 hours to go. So I feel like I've kind of honed everything that I do in that regard. That I can basically take day one and be like, "Okay, I see where we're going to land. I know what this campaign is going to do for us." And so that has taken a lot of sort of pressure off my shoulders, because it becomes like we were just talking about, the more you do it, right, the easier it gets. So, eventually it almost becomes a template, right? Where you're just like, okay, we're going to do it the same way we did last time. We take out the art, we put in the new artists. Now that's always a gamble, because you never know how your artists are going to respond to new artists, of course, or how your customers rather are going to respond to new artists. But, for us, again, I've streamlined our process to where I'm not even running out and stressing about getting like the big name. Obviously, there's a lot of big names on this particular campaign, but throughout the year, most of what we have is a lot of new people that I went and found, guys that most of you probably would have never heard of, but we were getting the same results or similar results in sales as we were when we had the big guys. So that told me that, number one, I'm really good at what I do. By picking artists, just gonna pat myself on the back for that. But it also told me how I can run a campaign. And so I like to kind of dive in when campaigns run and are finished and kind of watch them, see what happened, why it happened, really analyze it, and then take it to the next campaign and see what we can do. Now, that said, that's a lot. Next year is where the goals come in, because next year we dive heavily back into the Critterverse. It's been a book that has been neglected for a while. It is the first book that I ever wrote. It was always my intention to create what really hasn't been created outside of Marvel, DC, and I would say Invincible. And that's a working, regular, coherent superhero universe. There have been spurts of those over the years, like the Ultraverse with Malibu, but that's gone. Image when they started, certainly, but that just splintered off after a few years and it just kind of disappeared on its own. And so I've always wanted to, and then Invincible came around and I was like, God damn you, Kirkman, because this is what I wanted to do. So he was playing in my sandbox, because a lot of our stuff has the same sand on it. So it's exciting to me to get back and be like, it's time for Critter to take this step forward. It's time to do what I've been told can't be done. And that to me is sort of an energy charging thing, where it's like, you can't do superheroes. You can't be successful with them. You can't build these types of things that you're trying to do. And I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to show you that this can happen. And I'm going to do it in ways that no one is expecting. And this is going to go from 2024 into 25, which will be our 15-year anniversary. And then we'll be coming right back into 26 with more Critterverse in a more expanded way. And goddamn, I wish we were there right now. But so next year is going to be very, very exciting for me, and the goal is to really drive home that superheroes are not the bottom of the barrel of creation. You can do a lot with them, and yes, there is a lot of derivative elements, right? Because Marvel and DC have done everything for 70 years, and every power set you want to create has probably been done in some way, shape, or form. But it's not the I think the hard part is you have to get people back past the idea of, oh, what does this character do? What are her powers? No, it doesn't matter. It's not what are her powers. It's what does she do with the powers. The story is the determining factor of, does she do bad things with the powers? Does she do good things with the powers? Does she hide from society? Does she out herself to the public? The story of superheroes is not what they do. It's not their ability. That's just sort of the crutch of the superhero world is how do we make an interesting character? Well, she flies. Well, she's got laser eyes. Well, she's whatever. But ultimately, it's what do you do with those powers, and that's the mindset that we have to shift in the superhero world.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to mention too, because I think, of course, you guys have superhero comics. We have superhero comics here at Odyssey with our UB's title. Of course, Jay has plenty of superheroes too with the Unstoppable universe, and it's
the Remarkables here.
Yeah, and Remarkables with Carlos. So it's like, I've heard from some publishers like, oh, we don't do superheroes and stuff like that, and things like that are crazy to me, especially as a publisher, because I look at everything. We take submissions for everything, and would I want to pass off on the next Invincible or something like that just because I have it in my head that superhero comics can't work? Everything can always be looked at from a different angle, and it's really how you bring something new and interesting and exciting to the table. And in a lot of ways, the fact that there are so many projects makes it such a ripe sort of template for exploration and then things they can do, because you have a lot less explaining to do when it comes to a superhero comics. You can get right into the story and do some really cool things. People can buy into it because they're so accustomed to the tropes. They're so accustomed to the direction that things go in. It gives you more of a capability to subvert some of those things.
Yeah, right. There's an ease of entry in it, right? But I love how they say, oh my God, the same people I feel that are bashing superhero books are the same ones, doing Cthulhu books. But whatchamacallit, it's
right,
overrun. It's all window dressing. You still have to tell a compelling story. All right. And at the end of the day, if the person who put their 2 bits down on their book is happy, you did your job.
Yeah, to me, it's like clothes. It's like, you can say everybody makes T-shirts. Why would my clothing company make T-shirts too?
That's a good point.
what style are you bringing to it, man?
Or it's like pizza in New York City. There's one on every corner. All right. Mm-hmm. If they were, said, oh, why do pizza? Because Domino's and Papa John's are doing it. You never have that over here. All right. But I'll put up 99-cent corner store pizza against, the majority of the nation in terms of taste and stuff.
All right, I think we got Dre.
Dre, what did you accomplish this year that you got to or didn't want to, or what were your dreams that you got to in life?
Yeah. So my main goal this year was to pretty much complete my trade paperback, and I did that. That was like how you have like tiered goals, and you're like, hey, if I get this, then I get this, then I get this, then I get this, and that was like for me, that was like my top tier goal to do, and I feel like I was able to do that, and I actually feel very accomplished this year because 2022 was not a great year for me, and for a lot of people, of course, 2020 was an absolute debacle for pretty much everyone. And let me also say, Carlos, condolences to you.
Thank you, appreciate it
for the loss of your mother. That's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that, because my wife just experienced that as well a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, during 2020. Her mother passed, unfortunately, from COVID complications, unfortunately. And that, to say the least, put our entire year on hold, to say the very least. So all the work I was going to do, for my comic and all this other stuff. My events, of course, were all canceled. And of course, I had to pretty much put everything on the back burner because I had to be there for my wife. And that's just the reality of the situation. So 2021 was a catch up year. 2022 ended up being a freaking disaster because our printer didn't work. Just terrible things just happened. Just snowballed. But this year was my redemption year to actually accomplish something. And I actually finished this graphic novel. And to see that there's an outpour of fandom coming out for it is a reward in of itself. And so to say that my 2023 was a success. I set out my goal and I made it. Now 2024, we got some nooks and crannies to get into. Because 2024, I'll be finishing hopefully the complete musical album for this comic, for this graphic novel. I'll be finishing the whole album. We're gonna get deep into the murky waters for that. So that's gonna be a heck of an undertaking, but it's gonna be pretty cool to actually produce a full album. I've never produced a full album before, so this is gonna be pretty cool. So 2024 is gonna be focusing on that, and but I say 2023 has been a successful year, all things considered, and I have reached my goals for what it was.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Yeah,
I'm glad.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
So Jay, how did your 2023 work out for you, sir?
Well, I'm the opposite of Dre, right? That's why I'm happy that his worked out so well because, contrary to popular belief, I do want you guys to succeed. I do. It may not seem like it, right? I did not hit my goals. Things happen, right? I put a lot on my plate. I expect a lot of myself. Maybe I put too much on my plate. And I try to force things that shouldn't have been forced when other things were still in the middle of getting cleaned up, So I didn't. And rather than continuing to add to the mess, I'm spending the rest of the year cleaning up my messes, getting better organized for next year. The beginning of the year, I was psyched because I was like, I got a release schedule of a book every other month, going up until 2025, September 2025. 3 of those books didn't get released. Shit got pushed back. So it's time to step back. Take these next few weeks to readdress my shortcomings and try to streamline things for the coming year.
So what's your biggest takeaway for that for next year?
That's hard because part of that wasn't in the answer to the question I made, right? Mm-hmm. How do you keep the machine running when you have to step away from a personal emergency, right? Because if it was all on my shoulders, God damn it, we'd be fucking running like a Ferrari. But I can't do all of that, and shit happens, right? I'd love to say this was my full-time job. I fucking kill to say that every fucking day, but it's not. It's not, right? I still got a family to provide for, so I have to make concessions. I have to make those things my priorities, right? I'd love to be doing a convention at least once a month. I can't do that. I can't. Because that is where I feel I excel the most. So I need to look back at myself. Go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. Everything from finances to how I, how do I spend that? How do I track that? How do I make sure I keep the revenue streams going? Creating new content and making sure that the team is turning things in on time.
Ooh.
Yeah, when they say they do, and try not to be as much of be less a Ferrari, more of a Honda Civic. Damn right, Dave. Damn
That's right. That Ferrari runs real fast for 500 miles at a time before it has to go in for service.
Yep.
You know that was my car. That was my car up until 3 weeks ago. The Honda Civic. But be honest with myself. Be honest with myself. Stop eating with my eyes, which is hard for a person with a beer belly like mine, right? You want all the shiny baubles. You want to think that you can operate at the level of the big boys because that's what you used to purchase. But we can't do that because when we're chasing that, we're going to be losing sight of the things that matter, which is strengthening our foundation, which is the comics that we're producing. So yeah, that's it. That's it.
You have to use the people that we'll use the term ahead of you in the race. You have to use those guys as templates, right? Like you can watch what they do. Doesn't mean you have to imitate it, but you can look at it and say, hey, this guy did something that I didn't really think about. How can I translate that to what I do here? And more importantly, would my two things: one, would my current followers even care? Because sometimes they won't. Or two, would doing X attract more people to me in that regard? So I think there's a lot of value in watching. We kind of all watch what we're doing in our own circle,
right?
But there's external circles, the Brian Pulido circles, the Dan Mendoza circles, the guys that are outside of our immediate circle that are doing things that are like, God damn, how is he doing it? Part of it is just the personality. Part of it is the longevity. Pulido's obviously had 25 years of doing this. Dan Mendoza's been doing it for like 15 years. Part of it is culture, right? A lot of these guys that are really succeeding have built a culture for themselves. And that, I think, is the part that a lot of us miss, myself included. I have it's not that I have no concept of how to do it, but I'll tell you right now, I don't have the energy for it. I've watched how Pulido and Mendoza and these guys do their thing, like on social media and whatever.
Oh yeah.
But also, generally speaking, especially Pulido, he's got a team of people behind him. So it's not like he's doing it himself. So this is kind of where I'm at, where it's like, it really, honestly, it's time to build out the infrastructure and get some people that may have some video ability. Like, yeah, maybe you're packing comics for me every week or so, but do you know how to do video? Do you know how to do CapCut? Do you know how to do YouTube shorts and all that shit? Because we can monkey around with all of that if people know how to do it. I don't have time to learn all that stuff.
What are they close to you? Right? Are they willing to travel to the same locations that you're willing to travel to on their own dime? Right?
You have to. I think it all starts with locality. It has to. Right. It's not about I live in Michigan and I hire somebody in California. That's not going to work. You have to start with it. It's like Pulido. His team is all in Arizona. He hired Arizona people, and from there, they can branch out. But I need to find people in Michigan, or at least relatively close, maybe Indiana or whatever, that if we need to all meet together at a con in Ohio, it's easy to do. If someone lives in Michigan, we can have a meeting and have lunch every week, even if there's no shipping to do right now. We can be like, okay, what's our video plan? What's our social media plan? Right. So you got to hire within a locality first, build that core, and then you can worry about externalizing it.
All right, cool. I wanted to pull this up. I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to also answer Mark's question. It says, all you do is inspirational, though. We've all been doing this for years, grinding. This is what makes this shit tick. Grind, focus, and most important, having fun. And yes, you have to enjoy the grind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, I work a full-time job. I'm at a job 8 hours a day, every day of the week, just like Jay. But the thing is, my focus is to get out of my day job, get it done, and rush home and get to this grind, because that's the thing that I most enjoy, right? So now, as far as the question is, I think The only thing I didn't do is I probably didn't do as many campaigns this year as I wanted to.
Whoa.
Right. What? I only did like 6 of them.
Well, he said
I'm always constantly looking at you. I never know what I've already backed and what I don't know. Man, you got so much stuff between you and Daphne. It's like, whoa, man. I never know what's who and what and when what started and what stopped. And that's my hardest thing is keeping up with 2 of you.
Yeah, I mean, because it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, for Daphne, she has her own stuff, but I have, I've said it before. I got enough material to do another 13 campaigns, and I mean, and I'll be like, call bullshit if you want. I can show you. It's crazy. I just have that much back catalog, and I'm hoping this upcoming year, what I want to do is, it's going to be a year of trades for me. I've already produced 3 trade paperbacks. So what I'll be doing is releasing more trades this upcoming year. So then that way I can push out a lot of the comic catalog and it'll just go to trades. And that's actually my preferred way of doing business. I actually prefer trades. But yeah, I think I'm at a point where I've gotten to a point where this year where it's set me up hopefully very nicely for next year. And that's what this year was to set up for next year, for 2024. So we'll see what happens. Nice. I mean, I'm excited. So, once again.
Nice. Yeah.
So Marcus, how did it work out for you?
I have a lot of the mindset kind of like Tom does. I have bullet points of things that I like to achieve. Mainly it's just whatever's in my slate, making sure that it gets out. If we're doing campaigns, making sure that we're funded, and just making sure that we're executing on the things that really need to. So for me, this year we knew it was a huge slate of things, and Kickstarters and things like that we wanted to get out. Didn't get all of them out, but we got 80% of them out.
Nice.
Two projects behind
nice.
On the year. I wanted to build a relationship with shops and get into shops. We got into shops. I wanted to do our first anthology, Critical Mass, which we did, funded, pending 8 pages from me to knock it out, and that's done.
Was that shitty artist that you were talking about?
Yeah, that shitty artist, that fucking lazy guy again, holding me up. But I wanted to build on what we did last year, which we did. This year we did probably 3 times the amount of business. Actually, more than that, probably 4 or 5 times that we did, over the previous year. The only thing that we didn't achieve was building out the team, which I'm still doing. Now, kind of like what Jay was saying, I get big eyes, when I see these things, and when you see the vision so clearly, part of you rushes to get that end result, because it's like you could touch it, you could grab it. So you put a lot on your plate. You extend yourself, and I overextended myself a little bit, not to the point where it was going to have a deep financial or schedule impacts or things like that, but I wanted to build out the team. I know I needed capital to do that. We have a lot of books that we're working on, so some of the concessions that I needed to make was, okay, for this year, for everything to get done, I can't build out the team the way I want to, because I don't expect people to work for me for free. So I want to make sure that we're in a position where when we're ready to expand, we're staying fluid in that situation, and I can make sure that people are compensated and rewarded for the work that they put in. But as things happen, I think this has put us in such a better position going into 2024. So if you guys thought 2023, we did a lot of stuff, you ain't seen shit yet. 2024 is, we're expanding in every way. Critical Mass is going to become its own imprint. So yay for me. I get to be running 2 publishing companies at the same time.
Way to punish yourself there, Marcus.
Yes, but thankfully also building out the teams that put us in position to be able to do that. We're going to be doing more solutions with getting our stuff in the stores and then tackling this direct market conundrum. We got so many new projects, like you said, JD. Even sometimes when we got to push something back, it don't hurt me none, because I got 7 other projects waiting in the wings that can all step up and be doing things. So we got a big slate of things we're looking to accomplish. We're building the team out. We're bringing in some veterans now. We're gonna have start the year off doing Fantasmic with Walt Giovanni from Red Sonja,
Nice.
Geraldo Borges from Dick Tracy team. You got a newcomer, Jeff Matuza, on it. We're working with some dope artists for variant covers. Some really, really great talents in the industry, and I can't wait to share more information about that. And we're doing new projects with that. So Odyssey is taking sort of the next steps into building our presence and showing that we can make things work, not just for emerging creators and people just getting into the game, but the veterans who have been here for a while. They're looking for a house and a partner that can help them get these projects out, and we can make it successful for them and for us, and be doing more things. We're going to have more graphic novels coming, more trade paperbacks coming. Just it's going to be nutso. And I think, when we get everything together and we make the announcements and when the teams are rolling out, not Jeff Masuda, Jeff Matuza, he's a new artist. But yeah, man, when it comes to that, it's I'm really excited about 2024. And I know if we had anything that got delayed this year or anything that we had to just pump the brakes on a little bit, it's only resulting in a stronger product that's going to be coming out at the end of the day. So this phase 2 of Odyssey, as I like to call it, is going to be just doing everything bigger, better, and badder, and hopefully that brings us some success for next year too.
Nice. Cool. All right, I got a final question to close out the show with. Business question. Here's something that a few weeks ago was a thing that we saw going around. There was price lists going around about some publisher, and he was putting out his prices. There was a guy from
Harris Comics.
Was it Harris Comics? Yeah, it was Harris Comics. They put out their price list. A lot of people were like hoeing and humming and all this other jazz about it. And I was just wondering, those prices were from 2009 or whatever. But Harris was a big company producing a lot of books, so they had that.
Focus on was.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They ain't here anymore.
No, they're not here anymore. No, they're not.
We know why.
Gone.
We know why.
So the my question is should indie creators pursue? All right, you know what? I'm going to rephrase. Because I have these two damn questions that are knocking around. And here's the thing: do we see that there's a double standard between the way creators charge indie creators as opposed to them charging bigger companies? Okay, and what I mean by that is we've heard X company pays this rate for a cover, but then when you go to that artist and you ask them what's your rate, and they'll give you a rate double that price or triple that price, right? I don't know if anyone's ever come across this, right?
Charging me 3 times what Boom pays, you mean?
Well, I'll give you an example. I know of a creator, I'm not going to mention names. He hired an artist. He paid this artist requested $1,000 for this cover. This artist works for, I think it's Zenescope. I'm pretty sure Zenescope does not pay $1,000 for a cover, and this was just a pencil cover, not a full color cover, and it was not inked. It was just
Depends
pencil.
on the artist.
Zenescope, and this is a contract from 2 years ago. Doesn't
even. Well, hold on, but does pay now? Wait a second, but hold on for a second. I know it always depends, but this was not Alex Ross. This was not Arthur Adams. This was not George Perez, God rest his soul. This was not, someone of that caliber. This was someone who was a good artist. This person was a good artist, right? Good artist, but not someone who's done a long run at Marvel or DC. You know what I mean? So my question is where does this person even get the temerity to ask? I mean, listen, time is time, and everybody can value their time or whatever. You understand? But where does a person who doesn't have that on their VCs get off on asking for that type of money to an independent creator? So, I'm just curious, has anyone ever run across this type of situation, that sort of thing,
It's the opposite of the Kirkman Manifesto, right? The Kirkman Manifesto is you work for the big companies and you take the audience with you when you go independent, right? So when it comes to the work for hire people, you go to work for the big companies, you build up a name, and then you can charge premiums when you're outside. Same thing with the independent wrestling circuit, right? You got draws who were never, for argument's sake, Intercontinental Champions, which for, and this is not a joke for me saying that, right? The Intercontinental Champions, right? That was a status bestowed on the best workers, right, in the industry. And here you've got former wrestlers who are doing that same thing on the independent circuit when they never even achieved that status, and demanding not just top billing but top pay. Are they demanding the same thing in the independent creator circuit? No. Are they asking for a lot? Some of them are. Some of them will work with you depending on who referred you, who the relationship you've built with them at conventions, right? And some of them won't even look your way.
All right. Tom, you've worked with more people than I think anybody here. So I've worked with a bunch of people with shit. You would have the most experience, I would imagine.
I mean, I've never felt that. I mean, I've had artists give me quotes and I'm like, no, I just walk away. I don't even, it's not even instantly in my head. I know I can put a name next to that and get a better name value than what you're telling me, regardless of how good you are or how popular you are. You're asking for X name value because, again, I've worked with the guys on all the scale and I can kind of compare. Like if I'm going to spend that much money, I can go get X guy and I'm going to bring all of his fans with me. So my experience has actually been the opposite. I've had people where they recognize that I'm an independent person and they're like, well, I can, normally I'm $900, but I mean, I could do it for like 700 for you, that kind of stuff. I've had that experience, but I've also had the experience where people are just, this is what I get. And so this is what I have to get from you. Because I work with, whoever, Zenoscope, Aspen, whatever, this is what they pay me. This is, and I've never had, because the funny thing, here's the other funny thing. I guess it's not for everybody. So this is from my experience. I can talk to almost anybody, anywhere, at any company and be like, are you paying this guy $1,000? And they'll tell me. So, so if you tell me it's $1,000 and I question it and I run over to somebody, I'm like, did you pay this guy $1,000? Is he really selling for you for $1,000? And they're like, no, he's like $800. Then you're done. I mean, that's just going to get around eventually. You are free. It's free market, right? So if you're getting 800 and you want to get 1,000, you are more than welcome to charge that. But, you have to be aware that, the indie guys, the smaller press guys, every dollar matters when we're doing that stuff. So unless I see some hyper value of like, if I put your name on my project, I'm going to see this line of customers coming in to get your book for that kind of price. There's just no way. And I've told people, no, dude, you're asking for, superstar price and we're not even in the same ballpark. And then again, sometimes people will be like, oh, well, I can work with you, which tells me other stories. And then, there's other places that guys are just like, well, I understand, but this is what I do. This is what it is. And I can either do my research, and find out that he's BSing me, or I can just say, yeah, come on board. But I, as a creator / person who's hiring people, just set your budget, man. I mean, and it either works or it doesn't, and you either have value in the name or you don't. If you don't see that there's name value, don't even worry about it. Go get it. Trust me, there are plenty of badass artists that no one's heard of that will do an amazing piece for you for $200 or $300, and you will be happy and you will sell books, and you have then made this new artist happy because you're now giving him work and he's going to want to do great work for you. There's definitely alternate ways than overpaying for something that you're not sure about.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I was just curious. So Dre, have you had any of these experiences?
No, I've never had that type of experience, but I got Jay's reference. I'm a huge wrestling fan too. So I got Jay's reference about the importance of the IC title being the worker's belt, and how someone from the indies independent wrestling would try to make the demands of a major promotion to try to get the compensation if they were an IC title holder. I understood that reference directly. And what JD's asking is the opposite. If you were an IC champion, then goes to the Indies and then demand IC money or more. So yeah, right. I got you. I personally have not experienced this. There have been some of my contemporaries that have that's dealt with not usually folks that usually left Marvel to try to go to the Indies and try to. Usually it's 1-for-1. Usually they don't try to gouge from what I understand, but I believe the principle still applies. You are making Marvel money, and they have endless resources, blah blah blah. Now you're going to a private independent person trying to get the same deal. That's right. Like, you can charge whatever you like. I mean, that's nature of the beast. But will we take you on? Not likely, because the overall majority of independence is coming out of our own pockets, and paying 1,000 bones for a pencil cover is not going to be in my budget. Let me be clear about that. That won't be in my budget. But no, I personally have never experienced that, and I've been very fortunate to just be dealing with other independent artists and stuff. So I've never had to come across that type of ordeal, because that sounds like a freaking nightmare, if you ask me. But I get it, and for those that have experienced that, I tip my hat off to you for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's only a nightmare if you agree to pay it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you don't have the money. I mean, those are that's the only nightmare situation. Because you can always, because I've come across people as well. It was just like, well, I just thank them for their time and for answering my correspondence. And I was like, maybe sometime in the future when I'm a little bit more well financed, we can bring it up again. Usually that's how I go about it. Carlos, what are your thoughts?
Yep, I've had it happen, and I'm like you. I say thank you for your interest, because I've had Marvel and DC professionals hit me up in private. They'll usually do it through the Champion Comics page, and then they'll be like, "I love your stuff. Yeah, I would love to work on stuff for you." And then it's like they're quoting me Marvel and DC rates, and it's like, thank you for your interest. That's flattering, but that's not within my budget. Yeah. And it's just like it isn't. And the crazy thing is when you get non-Marvel DC guys or guys that worked for did a cover or did a couple pages for Dynamite, and they think that's mainstream. In a way it is, but not really. It's like Dynamite, Boom, those guys, because one of those when they had that whole hashtag comics killed me or whatever it was, one of the coolest things that I got out of that, even though I guess the topic of it wasn't cool, but is the fact that a lot of these guys were spurting off what Boom was paying them and what Dynamite was paying them and all of this stuff, and it gave you kind of like an insight of where, as a garage, I call us garage indies, just like a garage indie music band, exactly. And that's what we are, and we're on the way up. And so when it's like Boom pays $80 a page for pencils and inks, that's not too far off of what I charge my guys. So it's like
you guys are paying you, Carlos? Damn. How do I get into that business?
I pay those guys. Yeah, and I don't get paid. I wish I did. I don't get paid. But yeah, it's one of those things where I get these lower level indie guys coming at me, and it's like, yeah, I'll do it for you. $200 a page, no problem. And it's like, $200 a page, man, who do you think I am? Are you going to be able to bring that in? Because that's my formula, is if whatever I'm paying you, when I go and do my campaign, are you, and then post campaign sales, are you going to bring in so that I make a profit off of you? most of the time, if it's $200 a page, that answer is going to be no, because you times that times 22 or 24, and then you kick in coloring and lettering and publishing and all of that, and it's like, no, you're not going to bring that in. And a lot of the times you hire these guys, and then you look on their page, and there's no mention or a posting of the art, and it's like, you're not even doing any promotion.
They do that to you too?
Oh yeah.
I thought it was only me. So hold on a second. What you're telling me is, when they're supposed to be working on the book you commissioned them for, they're making prints for the latest convention they're going to be at? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
yeah, that's what they're doing. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll tag them, or I'll have to tag them on their Facebook or on their other the social media networks. I'll have to tag them, because I'm like, man, you did this for me, or you worked on but I don't see you even with one mention. But they're posting all over the place their Spider-Man that they did, or their Batman that they did, and it's like, you're down here with me. Yeah, it's cool to dream that DC's going to see your Batman and say, hey, come work for me. But in the meantime, how about posting some of that art that you did, or posting that cover to get some of the people who, and especially during a campaign, if I'm running a campaign, and for those 30 days, how about maybe you just one time post it? You shouldn't make me have to go on your page and tag you so that it shows up on your page.
Even though this was something that was discussed beforehand, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they never, they just, they ignore it. And I'll sit there and I'll tell them, don't forget, our campaign launches tomorrow. It launches in this and that. Yep, I got you. And then it's like, nothing. Right. So they're doing nothing to help. So it's like, I'm just lucky. I've been doing it long enough now that I got my guys that do my covers. I can turn to them. They're great at promotion, and so I don't really. A lot of people come up and I'll do a cover for you. And it's like, thanks, but nah. I'll pass. I got my guys that they work within my budget. They know my budget, and they're reliable, and I can hang my hat on them. And if I really want to go over, I can always ask my buddy Jason to do a cover for me, and I know when he does, he'll work with me on it, and I'll sell a shit ton of his covers.
Nice.
All right, cool. Marcus, what are your thoughts? Because you also work with a bunch of people, so.
Yeah, man, we got quite the roster. As I'm doing more stuff with, artists that are more known from their contributions to, the big two and some of the bigger indie publishing houses. I haven't seen anyone trying to, get ahead a little bit and charge me more. Much like some other people are saying, I'm actually typically see them bring their rates down, to stay a little bit more within the indie budget. I think the only thing I have seen, which quite rubs me the wrong way, is some talents and some creators they work with, when they see how much the campaigns bring in, or they see how much we're working and things like that. They do angle to take advantage a little bit. Like, hey, you're quoting me on a rate. Like, I'm not stupid. I know what the conversions to your country and things like that are. I know how much I'm paying you and how much that is. And if I'm paying you a little bit more than probably you're receiving is, I'm doing that by the grace, because you're the artist that I want a project. I want you to be able to stay on the project. You have the vibe and everything that I'm looking for, and I'm willing to pay you a little bit more to get that effect and have that, that product that is told, and not just push you out of the way because I could get another guy for $15 a page cheaper or anything like that. But when you come back to me and you're trying to increase rates at an amount that I know absolutely fucking nobody's paying you, or hey, I need an advance on these pages and things like that. I do my best to make sure that everyone's paid, everyone's taken care of. We're not owing people money. I do this whole thing trying to take as little profit as I can, enough to keep the lights on and make sure everyone's taken care of. But I'm not a charity. I'm not in the business of giving away money. So
you make a profit? What the fuck is that?
Maybe a profit relative to the individual project or something like that. Because when you're doing so many things at this point in time, I hear a lot of people like, oh, we're doing this book and that book, but I don't have the budget here and there. It's all revenue for Odyssey. As long as the money's coming in, it's going to go where it needs to go. And I'll just make sure and I give the assurances that everyone's taken care of. Ain't nobody not eating because one project isn't pulling its weight or something like that. So just know how much you're getting into, and that you can cover your ass and take care of all your creators and your artists and stuff. As long as the money is flowing and we have the budgets to be able to allocate towards things, it's going to get done. But yeah, in those sort of situations where, guy who was, we were talking, he was quoting me, 120 a page. He comes back to 145 a page. It's like, okay, who are you? What have you done? Oh, you did this one book with Marvel 5 years ago. Have you worked with Marvel lately? Why ain't they working with you now? I see why, after dealing with you for so long. And those people, they find their way out. So writ large, Odyssey, we keep everything on the level. A lot of our talent is great. A lot of our creators are great. The vast, overwhelming majority, all just, I give them something. They're on time. I'm not hawking anyone for pages. I'm not hawking down anyone for covers. We keep it fun. We keep it light. Everyone's paid, taken care of, honored, and respected. And that's what we continue to do. And if I get the vibe from anyone that I'm talking to, whether it's cover work or someone we're looking to bring aboard the project or anything like that, and even in some cases, people will come and give me a quote. I'm like, you're charging too little. You need to be charging more for your art and more for your stuff. Don't let me or anybody else fuck you over and take advantage of it when it comes to your rates. Then everything's going to be cool. And if they're trying to pull one over, then that's going to be, kind of like a blackballing. That's someone I'm not going to try to negotiate with on the business level ever again, probably.
All right, cool. Listen, gentlemen, thank you. I apologize for the early technical snafu that I was running through. But, you guys all did great. Thank you so much for being here. Tom, let's start with you, sir. Where can they find you and your work?
Pretty much we live on Facebook for the most part. So you can find us there first. Twitter and Instagram, BDI Comics. We are on TikTok now as well. Website, bigdoginc.com if you need back issues. And Princess vs. Zombies tonight. We have about 2 hours left, and we're just shy of 18,000. So if you have not checked it out, you got 2 hours to do so.
Very nice. Dre, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, so they can find me on social media at TheBrute00. Also, we have a Facebook page, Brutal Planet Comics. I'd love to hear people what their thoughts and all the great stuff. Also, of course, I'm writing my Indiegogo at this time. Still got plenty of time on it, but you can definitely check it out. Treble the Rhythm Within, that would be tremendous. And if you want to support it, that would be tremendous as well. But primarily, you can hit me up on Facebook and on Twitter at TheBrute00. That's the best way to reach me and get in contact with me. And we do a lot of our business there. So that would be tremendous. Thank you.
Nice.
All right, cool. Carlos?
You can find me on Champion Comics group on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at Carlos F. Raphael. You can find me on Instagram at Champion Comics Group. And we have several titles. Like I always do this, even though it's not, I'm going to disappear. For some reason, I accidentally clicked this background thing. So, yeah, it's being weird. But we have, for Champion Comics, we have the new Remarkables. We have Torvald the Viking, Team Supremus. We have She is Black Dahlia coming out early next year. There's also Coalition Comics Power Company. You can look that up on my page, on my Facebook page. You can also get those issues directly from me until I can set up a storefront. It's worked out fine for me up to this point. And yeah, those that would be the books that you can pick up from Champion Comics.
All right, cool. Marcus, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, we just keep it simple. Just go check us out at odysseycomics.com. I'm most active on Twitter, so go ahead and search us up under at comics_Odyssey. We got a Discord server. I need to do a better job at talking that up too. That's really important for any creators out there because we love to share what we're working on. If people are fans of Odyssey, typically they can go on there and see advanced news or maybe pages and things like that we're working on, so they get a little bit of a heads up. And then if people are looking to workshop some things that they're working on, get in front of some editors, get some feedback on it, we're good at talking about those things too. And then other than that, yeah, check out Phelan Wood #2 on Kickstarter right now. We got 8 days and then we'll be wrapping up and then it's on to the next.
All right, cool. Mr. Rosario, where can I find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, you can find me on unstoppablecomics.com. All of my social media links are there at the website. And let's see. Saturday, we're going to be going live. Tuesday night, we're going to be going live. Jay the Unstoppable doing an aside from the comic thing. If you guys have been watching the Squid Game, this is the first time we're going to be doing a live Squid Game reaction video while the episode is up there, having fun, just chilling, bullshitting, talking Unstoppable Comics, and then just wrapping things up for the year. So, but everything else though, unstoppablecomics.com.
All right, cool. My name is JD Calderon. You can find me here most Sundays, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, theoswaldchronicles.com, and talltalesonline.com. And real soon, once again, the Oswald Chronicles will return to Kickstarter. So thank you so much, everybody. And just remember, buy more comics, especially ours. Thank you so much. And just remember also, all the creators here in the show notes, they got links. Click on those links, buy those books. Tom got 2 hours. Dre got 30 days. And Marcus got what, 8 days?
Yep.
8 days.
Yep. So there you go. Go buy some Indie Comics. Did a lot of awesome books. So thank you, everybody, for supporting us. And have a great night.
Later.
Peace.
He's kind of cool.